Goldens. Absolutely magnificent from Ray Wilkins.
Glasgow, a city where it was once said that people don't make the mistake of believing that football is only a game.
Still looking for the chance. Clinch the match, there's absolutely magnificent and finished immediately.
It's a vibrant city, torn down the years and down the middle by religion, an intense rivalry that manifests itself in football. Rangers and Celtic don't attract support from one or other religious communities, they are the communities. Success for Rangers is success for the Protestant majority.
Going for the early cross, there's Haley. That's a magnificent goal for Rangers. 5 minutes from half-time and Ibrox Ibrox.
At the end of each rainbow, they say, there's a pot of gold. In the case of Ibrox Park, that theory became reality on November 23rd, 1988, when David Murray, self-made millionaire and self-confessed Ayr United supporter, bought Rangers for £6 million and manager Graeme Souness joined the board. Between them, the pair were ready to revolutionise Scottish football at every level. The Rangers boss had never been a stranger to success in his playing days as Liverpool's driving midfield force.
Souness! Brilliant goal! His first for Liverpool!
His career at Liverpool culminated in 1984 when he led the Red Shirts to victory in the European Cup. Now in his managerial career, Souness had found an ally who found failure equally distasteful. But as David Murray took hold of the reins at Ibrox, it was perhaps a moment to reflect on the time when an earlier setback almost killed the sports-loving Scotsman at the age of just 24. A high-speed car crash led to emergency surgery and the loss of both his legs.
Well, basically I was coming back from a rugby match and I had a blowout in my front left tyre at 80 miles an hour. And the car went through a tree with me on it, and unfortunately you don't knock trees over. And the result was I had a very bad car smash when I had an amputation on both knees, a bilateral amputation. But it makes you more determined.
Determination is just one of the many attributes required in the second largest city in the United Kingdom. A city once observed as playing host to a game between two clubs far beyond mere sporting rivalry, more something which at times resembles a holy war. Down the decades, Rangers, the conservative Protestant establishment, have always held the dominant status both socially and financially, while Celtic have always been the Catholic minority, the underdogs. It's a depth of feeling so passionate that even the cloth on the snooker table in Rangers Social Club is blue. And a neutral glimpse at the fans during any Old Firm clash would tell you the intensity of feeling continues to run at a frightening level. Souness and Murray, though, are both philosophical about it.
Historically, there will always be the bigotry between Rangers and Celtic. It's inborn in Glasgow. It's part of Glasgow's social life. It's just a part of the structure there.
It's never been part of my life. I was brought up in East Scotland, which is totally different from the west of Scotland as far as religion is concerned. There is a divide there, unfortunately.
But the funny thing is, we've done a survey now, and only 42% of the Rangers supporters now come from Glasgow. So I think moods and fashions are changing, and we mustn't be narrow-minded. And I'm sure I speak on behalf of the Celtic board as well, without being presumptuous, that we've got to raise above that and leave that behind. It's something of the past as far as I'm concerned.
The religious divide, for that's what it is, has continued down the generations, although the clubs were briefly united in grief by the death in 1931 of the Scottish international goalkeeper John Thompson, a Protestant playing for Celtic against Rangers. It was that challenge that accidentally broke his neck. Ironically, it's been the eternal intensity of this rivalry that's made Ibrox what it is today. Quite simply, the finest stadium in Britain. New Year's Day, 1971.
From the stunned city of Glasgow, pictures of the aftermath of Britain's worst ever soccer disaster. 66 spectators, many of them children, lost their lives when these safety barriers gave way.
A last-minute equaliser by Rangers had brought fans crowding back into the ground. The Rangers captain that day is now the club's public relations executive, John Gregg.
They were bringing some of the poor people that had died into the dressing room. I came out here and they'd laid out along the touchline numerous people that had died and covered them up. And it was a tragedy that we hope to never happen again.
Obviously, it was a tragic part of the history, but as I said recently, I feel that the stadium we see it today is a fitting memorial to those who gave their life, because there's no doubt the stadium wouldn't have changed unless that had happened.
I think if you go to all these supposed wonder stadiums abroad, if you look at the infrastructure, there's very little behind them. I think you go to Ibrox and have a look what's behind the scenes there, and it's a five-star hotel.
The overriding feeling is that in the world of big business as well as sport, that's the only rating that David Murray is prepared to accept.
Well, Murray International was a largest privately owned by one individual in Scotland combine. Turnover this year will be £200 million. Employs about 1,800 people, 52 businesses, with 120 guys who have shares in different businesses. Not a workers' cooperative, but the nearest thing you'll get to with one man running it. Involved in metal distribution, electronics, office equipment. Just a very varied industrial combine. But the strength is the people, as it is at Rangers. Very good, loyal, hard-working people with a lot of integrity.
But even before Murray's arrival, the Rangers bandwagon was fast threatening to become a roller coaster.
Coist nods it on an awkward one for Andrews. The ball is in the net. It's a goal for Rangers. Facing McCarthy. Putting in a fine cross.
Their biggest win over their greatest rivals in 29 years, confirming their top dog status in Scottish football.
No, I think Rangers are the leading club in the United Kingdom. I think you can take various aspects of different clubs and they might be better. You could argue Liverpool in pure football terms are better, but Manchester United have got a bigger history. But I think overall, Rangers is by far the biggest club in the United Kingdom.
More cause for celebration came in the League Cup against Aberdeen. 2-2, extra time, and McCoist grabs the headlines. The League Cup had been captured yet again, the 6th time in 8 years. But even as captain, Terry Butcher collected the League Championship trophy that season, nobody could have guessed that Murray and Souness were about to throw the biggest spanner into Scottish football this century. They signed Mo Johnston, not only a former Celtic player, but a Catholic. A national newspaper devoted 10 pages to the event. Season tickets and strips were burned by supporters with long memories.
Deacon has Johnston on his left. A great chance now for Celtic. And that'll settle it.
But it was a move that had been considered very carefully.
We're not taking a religious position. He was the best player at that particular time to play with McCoist. And I think time will prove that we made the right decision to buy him, and time, business-wise, was the right time to sell him.
There was always a small element, and I do honestly believe it was a small element, that didn't want him there. But I think the vast majority did accept Morris in his time there.
In the days of equal rights and equal opportunities, Rangers Football Club's above that. We will sign the best players available to play for the team. If we don't, we'll go static. That's what happened to Rangers. They've gone static. And as far as I'm concerned, when I remain the chairman, that won't be the case.
But in Glasgow, and more especially to the man in the pub, it was quite simply beyond belief.
I phoned my brother in America, and it was 5 in the morning. They thought one of the family were dead. I says, no, it's worse than that. Mo Johnston's just signed for Rangers.
I phoned my lawyer that morning, I remember. It's
However, a lot of those unforgiving fans started to think otherwise when, in the 88th minute against Celtic in November '89, this happened.
Johnston, and he scored! A typical Mo Johnston goal. Only 2 minutes remaining. And the Rangers players are going way off the pitch. There was Gary Stevens, and it came to him. He picked it up there, and then, as he's done so often in his career, swept it away.
Souness' reaction in the tunnel afterwards seemed to be one of vindication. Johnston and McCoist instinctively formed a lethal spearhead in what was to become another successful season on the domestic front.
And that breaks the Premier Division record. Oh, and Johnston picked out by McCoist. 2-0.
But it continued to frustrate two people so used to success, in fact almost expecting it, that European progress was proving to be so elusive. The league was duly wrapped up again, but the European Cup continued to be nothing more than a pipe dream. Steaua Bucharest, 1988.
That's a goal. Oh. Number 7, Lakatos, has practically killed the tie, stone dead, in exactly 3 minutes.
Bayern Munich, 1989.
Kurgel. What a volley and what a goal!
Souness, however, is clear about the reason for failure.
One year we got beat by the finalist Steaua Bucharest. The other year we got beat by Bayern Munich, who got to the semi-finals. Obviously a quality team. And the third year we were beaten by the team that won it.
It's a bit like the Scottish Cup for us. We've never seemed to get over that hurdle. We've done very, very well and just fallen at the last minute. I think that a couple of things don't help that. I think that it's at the beginning of our season and we've got new players coming in. I think that helps. And I think we live with this fact that we got to the final in 61, 67 and won it in 72, and that's at the back. And I suppose, they weren't as good as Richie, Shearer, Caldo, and they can reel off the team.
Here's Steen, it's a goal! It's a goal by Steen, what a goal! Smith going up. It's a good ball, it's a goal! It's a goal by Willie Johnston. Steen, and here's Willie Johnston with a chance, and it's a goal! It's a goal by Johnston, right out of the blue. Rangers 3 up, incredibly 3 up. Rushes, and then it is. The final whistle's gone. Rangers have won the European Cup Winners' Cup.
Despite that solitary European success, because of their domestic dominance down the decades in tandem with Celtic, there aren't many more impressive trophy rooms in football. Success continued unabated on the domestic front.
Through the middle here, Trevor Stephen, it's a fabulous goal! It is. Richard Goff, who came round the back, and we'll feel here. He could have won it for Rangers.
The skipper had. The Skull Cup had become almost personal property. But just when it appeared that Souness and Murray were set to sustain their own assault on European glory, a bombshell, virtually in the Mo Johnston mould, suddenly exploded. Souness was resigning.
We're obviously very disappointed that he's made this decision. I know many of our opposing teams are perhaps glad that Graeme's going, but we certainly are not.
More than leaving Rangers, the biggest decision I had to make, or to take, was in leaving David Murray, because we had become very, very good and close friends.
I lost a close ally. I haven't lost a friend because we're still friends. Obviously, we're not as pally as we were, and we keep one or two secrets from each other. But I mean, I owe a lot to Graeme, and he was recently interviewed on an English newspaper and asked the best sign he ever made, and it's a great compliment. He said me, but you know, Graeme's made his decision, and as I said earlier, time will prove whether he was right or wrong.
Time will tell if I made a mistake, but I'm a football person. I don't think management is for old men these days. I think it's for guys my age, and I don't think I've got too long in management. And I wanted to see if I could come down here and crack it down here, because I certainly felt that I was successful in Scotland as a manager.
Oh gosh, he's an enigma, isn't he, really? But he's part of the fabric at Ibrox, and it wouldn't be the same without him. He's a joker. And in a classic example, we go to Hearts, he gets 3 chances, 2 sitters, and he puts away the difficult one. That's McCoist. And no, he's going to be a Rangers legend if he isn't already, and he deserves it.
Well, it's very nice of him to say so, but I think there's only. I think I'm saying that he knows that there's only one club for me, and that is Rangers. I'm lucky to have a great relationship with the fans. I like here, and it's, as I say, I don't see myself playing anywhere else in the country or anywhere else in Europe for that matter. And if it means me seeing my days out here, then I'll be more than pleased to do that.
The fact of the matter is he scores goals, and there's not a lot of them about.
Hitley. Challenged by Galloway, still Hitley. Gary Stevens in space on the right. Playing it in there to McCoist. Ali McCoist for Rangers.
His new partner settled the championship against Aberdeen on the last day of the season.
Going for the early cross, there's Hitley. It's a magnificent goal for Rangers. 5 minutes from half-time and Ibrox erupts.
You know, they say you can't buy success, but you can to a limited degree. But then you've got to mould them into a unit, and hopefully that will happen for us in the coming next few years.
March 1992, and the team that again leads the league prepares for another confrontation with their arch rivals. Walter Smith looks forward to the imminent clash.
Yeah, it's a one-off. I think all countries have derby games, you know, the London derbies, Manchester, Liverpool, etc. I think they're all based purely in football. The Rangers and Celtic one brings in other aspects of life in Glasgow.
Very fast and furious, and a lot of passion involved, and it's obviously like the Milan, and here the city split right down the middle sort of thing, so it's obviously very nice to win it and being able to walk around with your head up and not on the pavement sort of thing.
That'll be a nice quiet affair. You'll be able to sit down and enjoy it. No, it'll probably be mayhem.
comes Celtic. Charlie Nicholas scores a tremendous goal for Celtic. And McCall. Jerry Crenny. 2-0 to Celtic.
Rangers at least have the chance to exact swift revenge. Within 10 days, they meet at Hampden Park in the Cup semi-final. A point not lost on Murray.
It's the first time I've lost at home in 4 years, but I think on the day Celtic deserved the victory. They seemed to want the victory more than we did, and good luck to them, but we're still 5 points ahead in the Championship. We played them a week on Tuesday, and I'm sure we won't play as badly as that.
Right he was. Although down to 10 men after 6 minutes with the dismissal of David Robertson, pride was restored.
Well, Celtic letting McCall get away. McCoy! He scored! Right on the 45 minutes. Against all the odds. No wonder scenes of extravagant celebration. McCoy is almost in tears of joy and disbelief. The 10 men have taken the lead at Hampden Park.
It was to be Rangers' night, and 45 minutes later, how the manager celebrated.
Moments like this are very, very rare, and hardened football people like Walter Smith are absolutely delighted, and understandably so. This has been a triumph, rippling with character and courage. Celtic already off the pitch.
Next on the pitch, like lambs to the slaughter, came St Mirren, forlornly standing between Rangers and a fourth successive league title.
McCoy is going through here, the ball holding up in the breeze, and McCoy is going to score. This is Mikhailchenko. Back it comes to Stevens. 2-0 to Rangers. There's Houstra again. Now it's Durant. McCoist on the turn. That's great play by McCoist. And there's the chance on Houstra.
The celebrations were reasonably restrained, apart perhaps from those of the chairman. There was, after all, the slight matter of a cup final. The double was within reach. Only Airdrie now stood in their way.
Here's David Robertson, a stumble by Kirkwood. Robinson played it in Lawless. Higley! Rangers take the lead. Right on the half-hour mark. Gately, and she just couldn't get to that. McCall sets up McCoist. That's a good effort by McCoist. And deadly finishing pays off once again for Rangers. Right on the half-time whistle, that may well be the killer goal in the final.
Indeed it was, another piece of silverware, but for Murray, it's clear that the ultimate ambition remains unfulfilled.
I'd love to win the European Cup. I don't know if it's that practical. People say you can't buy success. I'm not saying we can buy success, but we're restricted to 3 foreigners, so we've got to get 8 good Scots players. But I'd love to win a European Championship. But not forgetting, one must still win at home.
They've won the double for David Murray, and for Rangers, another shot beckons that elusive target.